Hello. How you doing today? Make sure when you come on that you leave a comment so I can see watching. So, how's everybody doing? What are you drinking? My cup is a little boring today, but it's really pretty. You can't really tell too much. It's a bunch of gold, and it was made in Poland, actually. What are you guys drinking? I'm drinking English breakfast. I'm in a different spot, as some of you can see. Hi, Chris. Um, because we're going to eventually be kind of talking about our sacred space, how we're going to build it in our homes. So I needed an actual countertop area. Hi, Rich. Um, but what are you guys drinking? I am drinking chai black tea. Ooh, vanilla spice. Very nice. What are you grateful for today? I am grateful that we just were told yesterday that, oh, my dog's barking, uh, that Jackie is negative for COVID-19. We were kind of worried because she had some of the symptoms. So thank God she doesn't have that. So that was sort of like a whew, kind of thing. So um, that's what I'm thankful for today, for sure. Feels insane that it only took about 2.5 days to get the results, but even that was just torture. So I don't know if any of you have dealt with that kind of situation. um, but it's scary, especially because you don't know until you know, and that limbo is always the worst. um, so I hope to just kind of keep having those positive affirmations in my of it's we're gonna stay healthy. We're gonna stay healthy, and constantly have that going through my mind, especially because at least this week she was able to take off of work because she was having the symptoms and they weren't sure what they were. But she's slowly getting better each day, so that we can sort of re re up our health. Hi, Lisa. And so again, she'll have to come go back in, start all over again. So it's kind of how it goes when you're an ER nurse. But I'm grateful for my AA friends who I get to see occasionally on Zoom. Yeah. I've been feeling like I want to have more Zoom dates and Zoom meetings, but sometimes I just don't feel like, I guess, being social, and that kind of makes me feel sad. So I sometimes have to force myself, like I have to make an appointment to talk to X, Y, and Z, because otherwise I'm not going to do it. But it feels better afterwards. It's almost like going and exercising at the time or right before you don't want to do it, but then once you're done, you're like, oh, I feel so much better. You get your little TLC from your friends and family, and then you feel a lot better. So kind of force yourself some days to just reach out to somebody, even if you don't feel like talking or being social, just do it. It feels so much better afterwards because you know that at least you told them that you care about them, you want to know how they're doing, and want to kind of keep in contact. So, so for my little spiel today, I figure we could kind of talk about how to create your own sacred space in your home, since we're in quarantine. Synagogues, churches, any sort of worship spaces are closed at the moment, at least in Michigan. So that's for the foreseeable future as well. So we want to make sure that we still have somewhere in our house that we have to go. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you need to just have some space, or just as a meditative place for you to go. So um, creating that space, so that you can commune with whatever spirituality that you have, be it God, your inner light, the universe, just to recenter yourself. So, um, what I like to start with is some sort of, I guess, shroud slash pretty fabric. Um, so this one, I don't know if you can tell, it's like peacocks on it. And it's also sentimental as well. So anything that you can kind of put in your sacred space that means something to you is what you should be doing. So you just want to make sure that everything that you put there only makes you happy. If it makes you sad because it reminds you of somebody that you love that you've lost, that's fine as well. But just making sure that it's something that feels good and right in that space because you're creating that sacred place that you're going to go to whenever you need it. Okay, so start off with something pretty just to make sure that it's not just a random table that you're working with. Okay, so then let's see what other statue. So any sort of like statues, anything that reminds you of your faith, be it like a cross, a little Buddha guy, any other iconography that brings you back into that space that you want to get into. Then I like to kind of put any pictures of specific people that you might want to pray for, think about. So, like my little baby, having a little picture. Um, Sometimes I like having, like, if a loved one is passed, their little, their prayer card that you got at the funeral that feels really good because it's like you're kind of coming back to your ancestors and your teachers. So if you have a specific teacher that you're really learning a lot from, you can put something that either symbolizes them or a picture of them just to kind of pay homage to your you're feeling comfortable and you know them and you're very grateful that whatever you're being taught by them, that you're good to go. And then I like to kind of add some natural items. So you can find a bunch of these randomly, like in your yard or anything like that. So, like, I found this cool piece of driftwood that came on my shore. Um, any feathers or anything like that that kind of come across your path, you can kind of place it there just to bring a little bit of the outside inside. Any stones that are important to you. If you know what each crystal kind of does for you, that's another natural element that you can put into your sacred altar, your altar space. I have this really pretty little bowl that I got from one of my yogi friends, so I kind of like to place them there. And it's also an artistic expression where what you put on your altar where. Um, so I like kind of moving it around every so often just to feel the flow, um, and the energy that comes off of it. One of the major things I like is having at least one candle that I can light. This one is a little lotus, a little glass lotus, with just a tea light. But if you have a specific candle, like a prayer candle that a lot of Christians and Catholics use, and if it's in the middle of the day or you can get your space pretty dark, you can turn off all the lights and just have the candle going. There's actually a meditation called candle gazing, where you just stare at the flame of a candle for minutes and minutes and minutes, and then you close your eyes and you can still see the image of the candle in your mind's eye. So it's definitely something where if you need something to focus on while you're doing your meditations or your prayers, that's a cool one to start. And then also just having candles has that ambiance of being in church or being in a temple, so creating that, like I said, like that feeling is what you kind of want to do. So definitely have at least a candle. And it also brings in all the different elements. So it's like fire from the candle. It can also be scented candle or have incense that you really like. I have a bunch of different kinds that I like to kind of switch it up as I go. But again, that's the element of air that you can use that. And then for earth, it could be again like a stone, even grabbing some dirt or sand from outside. And then for water, a lot of times you can just put a little bowl of water so you can kind of get more into the elemental kind of feelings in your altar as well. Or holy water, you can use for that element as well. And then you can kind of, and then you're good. Um, and then just kind of making sure that anything that you put in there has some sort of sentimental value to you. Um, like I have this cutie little guy that one of my friends got me for a birthday slash, I don't remember, maybe it was Christmas, I don't remember, present, but I always kind of think of that person. And so I kind of place it there as in memory of them. Um, so you know, you can always switch it up whenever something doesn't feel good anymore on there. Just take it off, put something new. Um, and it's all about just having somewhere that you can go to reconnect. Hey, babe, Jackson. To your innermost, what you want to kind of calm yourself down for. So, and then kind of the last would be just any sort of prayer beads, rosary, mala, so that you can do a sitting meditation or a sitting prayer. Um, and if you can, the best thing would be to do is go to this sacred place in your home at least once a day. And it could be for, a minute. But at least you sat down and you took the time to center yourself, be with yourself. And the best place that you can do that is somewhere where you put and made special for yourself. I don't have a lot of space to make like a big, like a whole room. I used to have a whole room as my Zen den kind of situation in our old house, but now we have, I think, two less bedrooms, so I kind of lost that extra space. So instead of making it like I have to have a room that I go to, it's basically actually my nightstand. I have it underneath so that I have my little cushion so that I can have my meditation time. And I just do it underneath on my nightstand. So it's always there if I need it. Um, and eventually you can start to put little altars everywhere in your home. So certain things that get you to remember to be present in that time. So always thinking like, okay, I can put a little across here, a little Buddha there to kind of remind myself throughout my day. I have one that's right by my dishes, my sink, because washing dishes is definitely not my favorite thing to do. So I put it there as a reminder that, like, hey, I can use this time when I would normally be annoyed that I have to do dishes to use it as, like, okay, I'm going to wipe this dish, I'm going to clean it, I'm going to put it away as a sort of moving meditation and not as a chore that I have to do or that I don't want to do. So it's nice to think of it that way. It was just like, okay, you're doing stuff for a purpose and not just because it's on your to-do list and something that is necessary for you to feel comfortable that you did what you were supposed to do that day. I have a home altar, but it is a complete mess and I never use it. Um, I, to be honest, the last couple months, I haven't used mine much either. And I've definitely felt a major difference in feeling like, again, it's like a cluttery kind of thing. Like, where do I go? I'm constantly on edge and I always think to go and meditate and I never do. And so just again, that means that maybe I need to just completely take everything off of my altar and start fresh. Go outside and grab some beautiful things, like grab flowers, grab anything to make it fresh and new. Maybe even do like a spring cleaning kind of feeling of like, okay, this altar worked before, but now I need to just mess it up and get more creative about it. Maybe, make something instead of going to buy, a new Buddha or something like that, to make you feel connected to your inner, innermost. Another good thing, my altar is in my living room. That's a great place to have an altar, to be honest, because a lot of times we get so zoned into watching TV or doing stuff in our living room that having it there as a sort of like in your peripheral view of like, oh yeah, I need to stop thinking about what's happening, before and past and stay in that present moment. So that's a great place to have it actually. Um, but also having some sort of spiritual text or something that resonates with you that gets you to think a little bit deeper. Having that within arm's reach of your altar is great too, so that if you aren't feeling any sort of you know, want to do any inner work or meditate, then at least you could be like, oh, I'm going to thumb through the Bible, or I'm going to thumb through the Bhagavad Gita, or whatever is calling you that day, to read a random verse, like just be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to read, and I'm going to make it seem relevant to myself and really read into what it says so that I can kind of even use it as your contemplation in your meditation to be like, okay, well, all right, what did that mean? What does that mean to me right now? It might have meant something 10 years ago when you read it first. It could be completely different now. So we're always constantly evolving, constantly thinking differently, have new life experiences which change our way of thinking. So it's always, even if you've read a certain text a million times, it could mean so much of a different perspective that you're in every time you read it, as long as you're open to it and not just be like, I have to read this. So whenever you have that feeling, I don't use it all that often. I actually take the things I need and go into the backyard. Yeah, going out in nature is definitely somewhere that if you're having an issue finding the sacred feeling or just that ambiance, nature is chock full of that energy, because you're in something where it's like you're not in a constrained place. It's very natural. It's growing constantly. It's evolving and it's living and dying right around you. It's this microcosm and macrocosm of everything all at once. So if you are feeling stuck in your home sacred space or home altar, go outside, grab like the candle, and that's all you don't even need a candle. Just like grab something to sit on and just listen in that silence and in, the breeze and feel everything. So again, that using the elements to kind of get you out of the past and the future and staying in the now. Anything else? Oh, hi, Laura. If you hold an intent or question in your mind and then open a book, you'll be surprised at the answer that you get. Yeah. Even if you feel like you're not necessarily attuned to doing that, if you're constantly doing like, okay, I just, something that I needed is going to come to me. So it's again that law of attraction. You are attracting your answer. So you kind of open up a book and it might be like, that was exactly what I needed. And it might not hit you immediately in that second, but maybe a couple days from them, like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. Laura, are you drinking any cool tea? But yeah, so I mean, since now we can't go to our normal community centers and our churches, it's very, very important to feel like you're not completely disconnected. Because, I mean, coming from a Christian background, we've always been told, like inside whenever, one or more people gather in the name, you're basically, he's in your presence. So it's like just feeling like, even if it's just yourself, there's always some connection to something bigger and the connection between each other that we're longing for. It's there the entire time. We just need to slow down, sit with ourselves and really feel it and allow just those thoughts to flow as you meditate and just get onto a different mindset instead of just feeling flustered or feeling upset that you can't go to the normal places you want to go. So, all right. So I feel like for our meditation today, I think I'm going to move this up a little bit. I don't know. Ugh. So it's just going to do a little silent meditation. And again, just visualizing that every time you close your eyes, you're in that sacred space because it's in you the entire time. So it's never something that you have to find. It is who you are. So going and trying to find that person that or that, that community that completes you, you're going in the wrong direction. So you have to remember that if you ever feel alone and you need somebody, you're there, and we're all connected through that heart space and through that inner light that we all share as sentient beings. So you never need to feel alone. All right, so if you want to take a last sip of whatever you were drinking, maybe Laura told me what you grateful for the deeper connection and communication with friends and family. Yeah, I feel like if anything has been good coming from this virus is that it's forcing people to try and connect with people that they might not have in the past because they could normally just go and see them. So it's forcing your hand because you want to constantly tell people, hey, I care about you. So it's making you do things that you might not normally do. All right, so if you want to find a position that is where your spine is straight, comfortable. I think I might open up a window a little bit so you might be able to hear the waves. The waves are insane here today. It's kind of scary, actually. Hope you can hear it. I definitely can. So start to notice your breath. You can close your eyes. Even if you can't necessarily hear the waves, just visualize waves crashing on on a shore. Your inhale being the wave furling up, your exhale being the crash. Hear the wind chime, using those elements, the elements of water, air, fire, earth, to reconnect to nature, because we are nature. Just follow your breath. Stay in the now. start to come back to your body if you've drifted just a little. Take a deep inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Deep inhale. Sigh. Exhale. Last inhale. Your eyes are still closed. You can slowly open them. Bring your hands to heart center. Just remember that regardless of materials and things that you have in front of you, the sacred is always within you. You just need to look. That breath, that is sacred. It means you're still alive. I want you to make an intention for the rest of your day today, just to live in gratitude for everything you have and stay in the now. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of my little episode today and for meditating with me as well. I hope you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend. And I will see you next Tuesday. Namaste.